What is up, guys? And in this video I'm gonna be talking about how you film a food videography project or food photography, videography, mostly focusing on food in this video. Stay damn tuned. If you don't know who I am yet, my name is Peter, and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and you're watching Broke Visionary Collective, where I help you create something out of nothing. And not a lot of people know that my very first ever video client was in the restaurant and food and beverage industry. So, you know, your boy might have a thing or two when it comes to food and food related videos. And I'm going to tell you the three main proper procedures or ways that I shoot food videos before all of the fancy people nowadays, not throwing shade at them, with the you probably know what type of videos I'm talking about, which is cool and all, but I'm gonna teach you the basics of food before the whole generation of the whip pan, which is cool, right? I ain't throwing shade. So when it comes to filming food videos, one of the first things, just like in any video, it is about telling a story. And how do you do that with food? Well, the super easiest way to think about it is point A to B. So you buy the ingredients, you plate it, you make all the sauces, you start plating, and then you present it, right? Telling a story. So take, for example, this shot that I have here. I have the chef cooking up some sauces, preparing the sauces. So I'm showing the process of making the food. So you can either film a chef or a cook preparing or mise en place, getting the plates. Fun fact, I used to be a line cook, as well as getting all the ingredients, setting up the ingredients, chopping and preparing. And then you go into plating, as well as presenting the food. And presenting the food can come anything from just putting the dish in front as the final money shot, as I like to call it, or you have the usual fancy, the drizzle, or any type of toppings for whether that's a cake, whether that's some type of food related product, or you can have your customer or actor actually eat the food as the very final. So think about it. Think about how you get an apple all the way to an apple pie. Think about how you're gonna take point A and going to point B. Because when you shoot food videos, it's like, you want to build up the climax, just like a story. You want to build up the excitement and the momentum. If you just show your first shot within the first 10 seconds, here's a beautiful plated food, and I don't know how it's made, which is what is much more interesting is maybe plating the sauce, getting the little piece of pork belly, drizzling on top with the little micro flour and ornaments and all that, right? And putting that compared with music and pacing, that will make a much better food video than just being, here's a fancy plate, here's a fancy plate, and here's a fancy plate. So tip number one is tell a story with the food. Tip number two is super controversial, but equipment doesn't matter, especially if you're in the food and beverage industry. A client is not going to ask, hey, is that a macro lens that you need to use to film that? Is that the right lighting? So the truth is, my very first video client, I shot the food video, which is still in my demo reel, link is description. I filmed primarily with, I have here, is you already know, it is the Nikon 35 1.8 with my D5200, believe it or not. And I did not use any lighting whatsoever. I know this is like you just sinned, what are you doing? That's horrible. They had already built in fluorescent lighting, your typical tube lighting within the restaurant itself. And I was fortunate enough to get away with just using natural lighting. So my very first food client, they didn't care about what lens I used, and I was able to get some decent shots with this. They didn't care the lighting, they didn't care about the equipment. The truth is, fun fact is, unless they can tell between 4K and 1080p, clients don't really care about the gear you use. It's more about what is the end result. If you can produce an awesome video, what equipment, name brand, it's getting to point A to point B. If I drive a BMW and I still get to wherever I need to go, versus if I drive a Corolla and I still get to where I want to go, it's about the end result. And that's what I want to emphasize, is you don't need bunch of fancy equipment. That is my second. Might be a little controversial for all those. Obviously, if you get a $10,000 budget and you have crews and this, then yes, equipment might matter. But if it's just a small mom and pop shop and they want to get into video, you don't need the best equipment for it, right? That is something that not a lot of people will tell you. And my last and final tip when it comes to shooting food related videos is try to cut down on the wide angle shots, because food related videos, they don't have a lot of dialogue. So you don't need to worry about filming it super wide. Maybe once in a while if you see the chef like just plating, but for mostly food videos, you're really looking at very tight shots. So you're looking at very tight shots, either plating the food here, and you might want to get like a medium wide shot of the chef from, I'd say, torso up, and that would be the main shots. The main shots would be super tight, super close, super zoomed in all the way, so you can see every minute detail. If you want, you can get a macro lens, like in the description, the one that I recommend, but just using a kit lens or 18-55 with a fast 1.8, 2.8 will do more than enough. And making sure that you have mostly tight and medium shots, and once in a while throw in a wide shot. And a bonus tip is most food videos is they'll look a lot more cinematic if you film it all in 60 frames per second, and once in a while you want to throw in 120 frames, which will make it much more cinematic. And those are my 3 kind of overall tips when it comes to filming food related videos. And if you want to grab my free camera guide that will help you out with what camera gear I get, what is my budget, link is in the description. If you want to get my full in-depth how to edit, how do I start in video production and career and all that, link is in the description. Get 2 months free off of Skillshare. You'll have access to all my courses. Resources are in the description below. My name is Peter, and you are watching Broke Visionary Collective, where we all start with nothing, but you can always create something. Cheers.